On YouTube, this is Ben with BC Design Company. Today I'm going to review my Baldor buffer setup that I built a few years ago. I really like this tool. I use it constantly in my shop. I'm using all these wheels at least a few times a day. I built this out of a cast iron lathe base from a Craftsman lathe, maybe era 1960s, and I purchased these two Baldor buffers. They're 3rd horsepower for about, I think I paid $280 a piece, so they're not cheap, but I use them every day and they're top quality, so they're gonna last a lifetime. And then I was only gonna get one of them, but I had this stand and I thought, you know, it would look good with two, and I really do need more than just two different wheels. As you can see, I wanted to do this project right because it is a tool I use every day in my shop, and I wanted to just make sure that it was done right and something I was gonna enjoy throughout the time I'm working in my shop. And I paint matched the base, this cast iron base, to these this purplish gray color, and then I painted these posts silver, kind of match it, make it look decent, halfway decent, and I'm really happy with how it came out. Okay, now I'm going to show you guys how these work. The wheel on the right here is called a deburr wheel. It's a standard abrasives 9S, and it works incredibly well. And then over here we have a stainless steel wire wheel. This is, I believe these are like maybe 10 thousandths thick a wire. That's a pretty thin wire gauge. It works really well to get in tight areas. Then this is a softer Scotch-Brite wheel, 3M Scotch-Brite. And this is a little more coarser one. I don't necessarily use this one as much, but I definitely use this one a lot. So it's on the outside, you get more area over there. And this says stainless on it. I have this dedicated directly just for stainless steel. So I want to eventually get another wire wheel for stainless over here, and maybe even do another deburr wheel as well. So let's see how, I have a couple parts that I'm going to try to deburr. We got a rusted bolt, piece of aluminum, saw cut piece of aluminum. You can see there's a burr on that. I don't know if that comes out very well. And then just a plate of steel. That's been sheared. There's a sharp edge on that. And then this is also just a piece of stainless steel tubing, 16 gauge 1-inch square tubing. So I'll start with this one and show you guys before and after. So as you can see, we got a sharp edge there. Right here it's nice and rolled over, polished out. See how that looks on the aluminum? So we got that sharp, rough saw cut. I'll focus just on the corners primarily so you can see the difference. And aluminum transfers heat very quickly, so these do heat up. It's good to wear gloves. So you can see how that's deburred. Real nice polished edge. And then, you know, for an edge like that, that would work well on stainless. This is just a scrap piece. This isn't set up just directly for stainless for contamination reasons, but for this purpose it'll be alright. So yeah, we got a nice little deburr there. So on this buffer here, like I said, I have this dedicated directly for stainless, and so for this demonstration I'm only going to show you on a piece of stainless because I don't want to contaminate these wheels. And then if I did do that, I could go back, I've used that maybe on that piece of cast iron or that steel plate. It would have the risk of absorbing some of the steel particles and then transferring it back to a piece of stainless. And then when that's finished, or that I'm working on a project and I go to weld over it, I can pick up that steel and rust the part, so it could ruin it. So I'll show you what these are. I'll start with this one. This is a little more aggressive wheel. I think we still have a bit of a sharp edge on here. You can see that finish. So come in. I really like these wheels. They're not cheap. I think they're maybe for two you can get them for around $5 each, something like that. Or there's a few different methods to doing it. You can get it in Scotch-Brite sheet and cut it up into squares and then put a hole in it, and then when you start working it, it's a big square coming around, but after you go through it a few times it rounds the edges and works just fine. So I use this a lot when I'm deburring inside of stainless steel tubing. You see there's some sharp burrs in there, and that could interfere with the fit up of a nice miter joint like that. So I'll come in just break those edges. Not much, just a little bit. And then this one, this is a, so you can see how that polished up right there. And then this one here, the softer wheel, it's a little too soft. I really don't use that one, this one that much, but it has its purpose. This will come out actually looking pretty good. So we see that, that gives a real nice polish, but like I said, I mainly use this more aggressive wheel. It works out really well. Watching, hope you enjoyed my video on these two Baldor buffers and the wheels I have for them. Like I said, this is a pretty common setup. I use these every day when I'm working. You can't live without this wheel. You definitely can't live without a wire wheel, and you do also need a Scotch-Brite wheel time to time. And if you want, you could just have one grinder or buffer, but changing those wheels out takes time, cuts into your overhead, things like that. So stay tuned. I want to do a couple of update videos on this setup. I have a multi-tool that I ordered. It's a 2x36 belt grinder and a miter table on the side with I think a 7-inch disc. So I'm going to do a follow-up video on that because they now sell these buffers or grinders with that tool. But I haven't seen any reviews on it. I wanted to check and see if this third horsepower has enough power to really get in there and do some work with that belt grinder, and or if it's going to stall the motor. I know they rate those at I think a half horsepower. These are a third, but they're really good third horsepower. So I think it's going to be alright. I mean, they do sell them now with that belt grinder attachment. And then I want to do another update video on some dust collection on this. And it's not really that necessary. You're not creating a lot of, like you would in a wood shop, wood chips and things like that. But it's still, after you're sitting in front of this thing for about an hour, if you're doing a restoration, deburn bolts, deburn whatever, the dust does add up and you are breathing that in and it's not really healthy. So I want to figure out a way to do a little bit of dust collection and then go from there. So thanks again for watching.